When most people picture Kentucky, they see a highlight reel. Bourbon barrels stacked in wooden warehouses, horses sprinting beneath twin spires, fried chicken in a red and white bucket, maybe coal mines carved into Appalachian hills. And to be fair, those things are real. But here's the problem. Once those images lock into your head, your brain stops searching. Kentucky becomes a brand instead of a place, a stereotype instead of a system. 5 repeated visuals replace geography, infrastructure, geology, industry, and history. And Kentucky might be one of the most misunderstood states in America because of that. Underneath the familiar images is a state with world-scale logistics, bizarre border anomalies, underground megastructures, global manufacturing dominance, and geology so influential it literally changes what the world drinks. By the time you reach fact number 1, you'll understand why Kentucky is not a side character in American geography. It's an engine room. Let's start at 22 and count down. Fact 22. Kentucky isn't just a state, it's officially a Commonwealth. Kentucky is one of only 4 U.S. states that formally calls itself a Commonwealth, along with Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. Legally, this doesn't give Kentucky any different powers than other states. But historically, the word matters. Commonwealth reflects early political philosophy, the idea that government exists for the common good. Kentucky was originally part of Virginia before becoming the 15th state in 1792, and the terminology carried over. It's a small detail, but it signals something important. Kentucky's identity formed early in American history, not later during westward expansion. It's older in structure than most people assume. Fact 21. One of the world's largest free-swinging bells is in northern Kentucky. In Newport, Kentucky, across the Ohio River from Cincinnati, stands the World Peace Bell, recognized as the largest free-swinging bell of its kind. It's over 12 feet tall and weighs roughly 33,000 pounds. Most people assume world record monuments live in major tourist cities, but Kentucky's version is quietly positioned in a riverfront city that many visitors pass without realizing they've crossed into another state. That's a pattern you'll see repeatedly. Kentucky doesn't advertise scale loudly. It just has it. Fact 20. The official state soft drink isn't cola. It's Ale 8-1. Kentucky's official state soft drink is Ale 8-1, a ginger citrus soda bottled in Winchester since 1926. Outside the state, many people have never heard of it. Inside the state, it's practically cultural currency. This isn't just about soda, it's about regional identity. Geography expresses itself through small, everyday loyalties as much as through big landmarks. And in Kentucky, local pride runs deep. Fact 19. Limestone is Kentucky's hidden operating system. If you want to understand Kentucky, you don't start with cities. You start underground. Kentucky sits on massive limestone formations. Limestone naturally filters groundwater, removing iron and adding minerals like calcium and magnesium. That filtered water flows through springs and aquifers across the state. This geology shapes agriculture. It shapes ecosystems. It shapes industry. It even shapes taste. Without limestone, Kentucky would not be Kentucky. Fact 18. KFC began as a roadside Kentucky operation. The first Kentucky Fried Chicken wasn't born in a corporate lab. It began at the Sanders Court and Cafe in Corbin, Kentucky, a combined gas station, motel, and restaurant where Colonel Harlan Sanders perfected his recipe. It's now preserved as a historic site. That origin story matters because it reflects Kentucky's geography during the highway era. Roadside businesses along travel corridors became economic lifelines. Kentucky wasn't isolated. It was connected through mobility. Global brands can start in small towns. Fact 17. Kentucky contains multiple Kentuckys. In one, Kentucky is not geographically uniform. The eastern part of the state includes rugged Appalachian terrain. The Bluegrass region features rolling hills and fertile limestone-rich soils. The Pennyroyal region contains sinkholes and cave systems. The Jackson Purchase in the west is flatter and agriculturally distinct. In a few hours of driving, the landscape can change dramatically. Kentucky is less a single region and more a stitched-together collection of geologic chapters. Fact 16. The Bluegrass region's soil helps produce elite horses. The famous Bluegrass region isn't just visually appealing, it's chemically significant. Limestone-rich soils contribute calcium to grasses. Grazing horses absorb those minerals, which support bone development in young foals. Combine that natural advantage with generations of selective breeding and infrastructure, and you get one of the world's premier thoroughbred centers. Kentucky's horse dominance isn't just tradition, it's geology meeting biology. Fact 15. A Kentuckian helped shape the modern traffic light. Garrett Morgan, an inventor born in Paris, Kentucky, patented a traffic signal design in 1923 that included a caution phase, an early version of the yellow light. It's difficult to appreciate infrastructure that works so well it becomes invisible. But the logic that keeps intersections from becoming chaos traces back in part to a Kentuckian. Kentucky has quietly contributed to the systems that make modern cities function. Fact 14. The hot brown is a Louisville invention. In 1926, the Brown Hotel in Louisville created the hot brown, an open-faced sandwich with turkey, bacon, and a rich sauce baked until bubbling. It may sound simple, but it's tied to a specific institution, a specific year, and a specific city. Kentucky's culinary contributions are not generic Southern dishes. They are geographically anchored creations. Food is often a map in disguise. Fact 13. Fort Knox is real. And strategically located near Louisville sits the United States Bullion Depository, widely known as Fort Knox. It holds a significant portion of the nation's gold reserves and has become a global metaphor for extreme security. Its construction emphasizes layered physical protection and restricted access. Geographically, this reinforces something many overlook. Kentucky is part of the nation's core infrastructure, not its periphery. Fact 12. The Kentucky Derby is a logistical phenomenon. The Kentucky Derby isn't just a race, it's a short-term supply chain surge. Tens of thousands of mint juleps are served over Derby events. That requires enormous quantities of mint, ice, and bourbon delivered and managed on precise timelines. For a brief window each year, Louisville becomes a high-density consumption zone that reshapes local supply flows. Geography isn't static, it pulses. Fact 11. The Happy Birthday melody traces back to Louisville. The melody commonly used for Happy Birthday to You was composed in the 1890s by Patty and Mildred Hill of Louisville. The tune is sung daily in countless languages around the world. Kentucky's influence doesn't always announce itself, but it's embedded in global rituals. Sometimes cultural reach is quiet. Fact 10. Mammoth Cave is the longest known cave system in the world. Mammoth Cave National Park contains the longest known cave system on Earth, with hundreds of miles mapped and exploration still ongoing. It's not just a cave, it's a subterranean network, carved through limestone over immense spans of time. The same geology that filters water and shapes soil also created one of the planet's most complex underground landscapes. Kentucky's surface story is only half the story. Fact 9. Kentucky has one of the few reliable moonbow locations. At Cumberland Falls, under the right conditions, moonlight refracts through mist to produce a moonbow, a lunar rainbow visible at night. Very few places on Earth reliably produce this phenomenon. It's a reminder that world-class natural events aren't limited to famous national parks. Some occur quietly in the southeast, waiting for people who know when to look. Fact 8. Kentucky has 120 counties. Because travel used to be slow, Kentucky has 120 counties, an unusually high number. In the early days of settlement, travel was slow and difficult. Residents wanted county seats within a day's ride. Counties split repeatedly to maintain accessibility. That horseback-era logic still shapes the modern political map. History fossilizes itself into boundaries. Fact 7. The Kentucky Bend defies logic. There is a piece of Kentucky called the Kentucky Bend that you cannot reach from the rest of Kentucky by road without passing through Tennessee and Missouri. The Mississippi River's looping path and early survey decisions created this geographic anomaly. Borders are rarely neat. They follow rivers, mistakes, compromises, and old technology. Fact 6. Every Corvette in the world comes from Bowling Green. Since 1981, the Chevrolet Corvette has been manufactured exclusively in Bowling Green, Kentucky. If you see a Corvette in Europe, Asia, or the Middle East, it was built there. That's a global production monopoly tied to one American city. Kentucky doesn't just produce products, it sometimes produces the product. Fact 5. Louisville is one of the world's major logistics hubs. The UPS Worldport facility at Louisville International Airport is one of the largest automated package handling centers on Earth. Yet, hundreds of thousands of packages move through the facility each hour, connecting global shipping routes overnight. Kentucky's central location in the eastern United States makes it ideal for air cargo distribution. While people imagine coastal ports as trade centers, Kentucky sits at the heart of airborne commerce. Fact 4. Kentucky barbecue can mean mutton in western Kentucky. Particularly around Owensboro, barbecue often centers on mutton, adult sheep, rather than pork or brisket. This tradition traces back to historical sheep and wool production in the region. Regional cuisine often preserves economic history long after industries decline. Barbecue in Kentucky tells a story of livestock patterns and agricultural heritage. Fact 3. A city sits inside a meteor impact crater, Middlesboro. Kentucky lies within the Middlesboro crater, an ancient impact structure roughly 3 miles wide. People live, work, and drive inside the outline of a 300-million-year-old meteor strike. Deep time is not abstract here. It's part of the landscape. Fact 2. Louisville has a massive underground business complex. The Louisville Mega Cavern is a former limestone quarry transformed into millions of square feet of underground space used for storage and commercial operations. The cavern maintains stable temperatures year-round, making it economically useful. Kentucky's geology doesn't just shape scenery, it becomes infrastructure. Fact 1. Kentucky is the world's bourbon capital. Kentucky produces the overwhelming majority of the world's bourbon, often cited at around 95%. This dominance isn't accidental. It's the intersection of limestone-filtered water, agricultural grain supply, generations of distilling expertise, and massive warehouse infrastructure. Bourbon requires specific production standards under U.S. law, but Kentucky's geology and industrial ecosystem give it unmatched scale. The limestone filters the water feeds the fermentation. The grain grows in surrounding fields. The barrels age in massive rickhouses across the landscape. The bedrock shows up in the bottle. Kentucky is not just horses and whiskey. It's border anomalies and meteor craters. It's underground continents and global logistics hubs. It's traffic lights, birthday songs, barbecue traditions, and aircraft cargo networks. If this much complexity hides behind a handful of stereotypes, imagine how many other places you think you understand, but don't. So now tell me, which fact surprised you the most? 22 to 1?